We are rolling. Nothing better. Hey, what's up guys? My name's Grant Borland, and today I want to look at a new sample library that SPITFIRE Audio just dropped, the Media Toolkit. This is a $29 sample library, and all the sounds were created by Paul Thompson, who was one of SPITFIRE Audio's co-founders. It's a toolkit essentially. It's a bunch of different sounds. You know, from his piano to guitars, a lot of like synthesizers, you know, like percussive elements too. There's like a lot of ticky sounds, a lot of like wood knocks, things like that. There's quite an assortment of sounds in it. It's, you know, $29. I'm looking at it now and it looks like all the proceeds are donated to charity too, which is cool. They say 100% of the proceeds from sales of the library will be donated to the Blueprint for All, which is supporting young people from disadvantaged backgrounds in the UK. So that's pretty cool, but really I kind of wanted to take a walkthrough of the track itself. I've written a short piece of music here. You know, I wrote it yesterday, or you know, yesterday evening, over the course of an hour or two, just kind of playing around with some of the sounds, and I wanted to make a track strictly from the sounds in this Media Toolkit, but then I kind of started getting carried away with it, and so there's a few other sample libraries that I've used, but the majority of this track is built through this Media Toolkit, which is really cool. So let's just get into it. Let's take a listen real quick, and then we can kind of dissect the track and dissect the sounds of the library itself. So. There you have it. There's the track. It's fun. It's a fun little, like, minimal electronic, a little bit of house influence too, I think. That kick drum or whatever was actually just a bass synth that I played around with. I threw some transient designers on it, kind of compressed it a little bit, and I thought it kind of sounded similar to a kick, so I kind of used that as a kick drum for the track. You know, I started writing the track, and when I started laying the percussion down, I kind of got a, like, Kiasmos or Janus Rasmussen vibe to it. I probably pronounced his name wrong, I apologize, but you know, yeah, like Kiasmos, kind of that like minimal electronic, you know, music, but there's also that like cinematic flavor to it, like really nice pianos, like felt pianos, things like that, just like Olafur Arnold's, you know, piano tone. So that's kind of the vibe I got once I started writing this track, so I kind of tried pushing it in that direction. But, you know, like I said, most of this is from the Media Toolkit. All the green tracks I have are from that sample library. And then I have, you know, some of my own samples, like the subs down here are from my free sample pack, my free sub boom sample pack. And then, you know, I've got some of the Olafur Arnold's chamber evolutions, like the waves that SPITFIRE Audio has, as well as Albion's Solstice. That was kind of the vocal texture thing. It's this That's a great sound. I always liked the sound of that in that library, but I've never used it until now, and I thought it was pretty fitting. Aside from that, we've got some of the Stratus stuff, which is another Spitfire Audio Olafur Arnold's collaboration. I use that for some of the synths, so some of these little ARPs. So that sort of thing. And then I have this drone from the, what do they call this? The Contemporary Drama Toolkit, another Spitfire Audio library. Everything in this track, aside from my sub booms, is all Spitfire Audio stuff. But let me go ahead. I kind of want to talk about, how I built the track. So I started around with this piano sound. I really didn't know, what I wanted to do. So I really just hit the same note over and over, and I threw a delay on that, which kind of sounded like this. Not super interesting, but from there I was thinking about what kind of piano chords could I layer underneath that to kind of get the track moving, maybe start adding a little bit of structure. So I started doing these types of chords, which I really like. That kind of thing. And then from there, I started layering the flute effects that are in this toolkit, which kind of sounded like this. And then from there on out, I did take some of the guitars. I played a sequence of notes on the guitars, but then I bounced the MIDI in place, so I had an audio file, and then I reversed that and then threw some reverb on it. So it kind of serves as more of a textural drone almost, but that's kind of what this sounds like. I also did some dramatic low synth pads or swells underneath it. So when that flute effect, that flutter sound comes in, I have this deep swelling pad underneath it to kind of make it sound dramatic and serious, which sounded like this. So that's kind of cool. I thought that was kind of dramatic. That only happens a few times throughout. It's not a consistent thing, but it's kind of a nice little accent every once in a while. Fills out that low end. Sounded kind of, cinematic. Not scary, but kind of suspenseful, kind of dramatic to me, so I liked that. And then from there, it was a lot of these percussion type elements. So there's wood hits, finger taps, which I don't know if Paul literally recorded his fingers tapping on a desk or something. There's hangers as well, coat hangers, that sort of thing. So I kind of started building rhythms out of this, and then I would use filters and delays to kind of make it sound more of a beat kind of thing. So that, along with the bass synth kick drum, we're calling it, this is kind of what the percussion section sounded like. I think those types of sounds really gave it that Kiasmos feel to me. Kind of that organic percussion mixed with a lot of the electronic drum kits. I think those knock sounds are really cool, and it kind of reminds me of that song Looped by Kiasmos specifically. That's kind of what this reminds me of most. But yeah, that's kind of the track. The Media Toolkit had a lot of cool things in there that really helped me write this track pretty quickly. It's an inspiring sample library for sure. Like I said, it only took me an hour or two to kind of make this track. I guess that's enough about that. Let's go ahead. Let me pull up an instance of the Media Toolkit right now. So here you go. This is the the interface or the GUI for it. Pretty standard. This is kind of this is Spitfire Audio's engine, so you're probably pretty familiar with that if you've used some of their products that aren't strictly contact based. But when you load it up, the first patch is this piano. The thing I like is this section here. It kind of reminds me of like different mic positions, but really what it is they're different layers you can blend in. So it defaults to this clean piano sound that I'm playing, but then you have this electric piano layer that you can bring in, which sounds like this. And then there's also a pad. So that's cool. You can kind of blend all three to taste. The thing I like about this too is there's this dynamics knob, which is really standard to their engine. I pulled that down for my track, and it really made it sound soft, almost like a felt piano. That sounded super versatile to me. Like when it's pulled down, it sounds more like a felt piano, and then when it's all the way up, it kind of sounds like a bright piano, which could be good for like pop music and things like that. You have different controls here too, which seem to be a lush reverb, a plate reverb, and then attack and release, which are all down here as well, so you can kind of control those amounts there too. Great sounding piano there. Let's move on. Flute effects. Really nice stuff. There's a sample library. One of the first sample libraries I ever bought was from a company called Project Sam, and they have a set of libraries called Synphobia, but I bought Synphobia 1, and there was a section of like flute effects and things like that, and man, I used and abused those patches so much in my early days, and this kind of reminds me of that a little bit, so it's kind of exciting to hear those things again. I don't know, it kind of makes me want to start using them again, in different tracks. I don't know, it's pretty nice. Moving on, guitar. So I kind of like the preset that they have on this. They have the clean, the soft pad, and the hairpins all engaged. If you turn these off and just do the clean signal. It sounds cool, but it kind of reminds me of like a Logic stock guitar sample or something. It's cool, but it's not super realistic, so I kind of like that they have these other options where maybe it's not supposed to sound realistic, but it could kind of be a unique sound that works in a track. This is the Marimba patch, just pretty standard. Very nice. So that's what I used as the kick in this track. So And so I used a little bit of EQ. I used the wave smack attack to kind of bring out some of the transients. So with that off, it sounds like this. And then with it on. So it sounded more thumpy, which was very useful for what I was going for. Here's some of the household hits. So these are the plastic hangers. I used this in my track too, but I filtered it and kind of made a rhythm out of it. See, I feel like things like this are really cool if you throw like an arpeggiator on it. So let me just throw a basic arpeggiator that Logic has. Throw that ARP on there again. So you get it, like a bunch of these high loops and knocks. Let's do the wood hits. I used that in this track. That might have been good to layer under my bass synth to give that kick drum, that artificial kick drum, a little bit of nice top end. Maybe I'll play around with that some more. There you go, guys. That's kind of just a brief walkthrough on this media toolkit from Paul Thompson and Spitfire Audio. I think it's really useful, really helped me create this track, and honestly, I personally like this a lot. I like this track a lot, and I think media toolkit will be, part of my regularly used sample libraries. There's a lot of good stuff in here that I think will be perfect for my sound. So there you go, there you have it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.